back to the Backpool Sports Podcast with your man Fonz.
Hey, Kawhi.
Yeah, well, it's Tuesday again, y'all. So y'all know what it is. We got something for you.
A bunch of bull.
Dag. How old are you again? They told me when I was a kid, like, you too young to be talking like that. Okay.
Dude, man.
Oh man, but yeah, boy, as y'all can see, the rat race is taking its effect. You know what I'm saying? We gotta laugh to keep from crying out here in these streets, man.
It's real out here. Hard out here for a pimp.
That's what the man said. He wrote it. I tell you, boy. That's a good movie, by the way. Shout out to Terrence Howard and Taraji P. Henson. Yeah, I got to watch it now.
Right.
You got the song. It's hard out here for a pimp. Well, I got to do it now. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and jump into the topic. So last Wednesday to be exact, the NFL schedule came out. And some teams, boy, it came out with a bang. Ain't even gonna front, especially Cleveland. But the Browns, they got the number one hardest schedule in the NFL this year. The teams they're playing got a combined win percentage of over 500, so it's like 547. Here's my take on the schedule, though. See, a lot of people put a lot of emphasis into who has the hardest schedule, who has the mid and the softest.
Right.
But it because you think about it, you play the same teams every 4 years, every 2 to 4 years, and you already know who you're gonna play. It's all about when you're gonna play them.
Exactly. That makes a difference.
So I look at Cleveland like, yo, y'all front loaded, and then they talk about the day where when it comes down to Nick Chubb, you know, he may or may not be available for parts of the season this year. So, hey, yeah, I saw that. I was like, huh? But then it was like, yeah, it makes sense.
The ACL tear was kind of extraneous.
Yeah. I think he tore it in season too. So you know, you need at least 9 months. You know what I'm saying, to really fully heal, and you're gonna need a little bit more time to get back in football shape. Yeah. So the Browns, like I said, the Browns got number one, followed by the Ravens with the second hardest schedule in the NFL, and followed by your Steelers. Last week off camera, after we wrapped up last week's show, by the way, thank you guys for engaging with us, James. Shout out to you, man. You blame the Ravens for y'all schedule, but I had to do some.
Your fault.
I had to do just a little bit of research. I ain't do a lot, but I did a little bit. And the thing is, y'all got the third hardest schedule in the NFL. Y'all won with harder schedules. like I said, I really ain't putting emphasis on who got the hardest and whatever pause. It's just that where you at. So let's talk about the Bengals though. Like I said, Browns, Ravens, Steelers got the top 3 hardest schedules in the NFL. Let's talk about the Bengals. The Bengals got the 4th hardest in the AFC North, but they got 17th ranked schedule.
Right.
But if I go down, it is. But I'm gonna tell you what's even crazier. The Chiefs got the 16th hardest schedule in the NFL,
and that's the NFL champs, right?
That's the NFL champs. So
I feel like, I'm sorry to cut you off.
Go ahead.
I feel like I don't understand why. I understand why, but at the same time, if you win the Super Bowl, you should automatically have the hardest schedule for the season. Automatically. Like, I mean, and 17 ain't too bad, I guess. But
no,
it's like, dang, like they're the reason why everybody's coming at their net. They're the team to beat. They're the dynasty. So I don't understand why they ain't got the hardest schedule. I mean, it makes sense why they don't. I mean, they struggled this season, blah 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 blah, but they overcame all that and won a championship. I feel like by default they should automatically be number one as far as strength of schedule.
Yeah, but I look at it at who they're playing too. You got to factor in that as well. Of course, they're playing the AFC North this year. They as we all remember, the AFC North sent 3 teams to the playoffs. They're playing within their own division, which is not as strong.
No.
And then I forget who else they're playing. But it's another division they playing that's not, that kind of contributes to where they fall in the pecking order. Just like with us, we're playing the AFC West, NFC East this year. So those, a lot of those teams are kind of top heavy, if you will. You know what I'm saying? But a stat that came out, and one thing about me, I like analysis. I don't know why I'm really getting into the analytic side this year, but it's actually kind of dope. When it comes down to the Ravens, they have the top largest net rest edge at plus 16 days. So for every game or every few games, it's like when you accumulate all the time they got to rest in between games, it's 16 days, excuse me. And it's the largest in NFL history. The NFL been around over 100 years. So I look at that as an advantage because you got 16 guaranteed days of rest. But the flip side was, and when I looked at the Ravens schedule, the late November, December, January piece. Like, I know we playing like 2 games in a matter of 3 days. So that right there, boy. But that's another show. And then the 49ers got the number one disadvantage with, it's 21 days. So to me, that means the 49ers ain't going to rest long. The NFL 2024 NFL schedule features a 37-day swing in rest edge between the best plus 16 and the worst negative 21, which is the worst delta, plateau, whatever for any NFL season dating back to 2000. So that's the worst in 24 years. The 2024 NFL schedule features a schedule where there are 101 games played out of 272. That's 37%. Where one team has a rest advantage over their opponent, which is the most in NFL history. Rest plays a huge factor in between games because you play Sunday, Monday morning, you got the day off because you got to get your body back together. You really don't start doing anything to like Tuesday, maybe Wednesday, and getting ready for walkthroughs and practice and stuff like that. So going back to the Browns, I feel like it's gonna be tough sledding this year for them. Very tough because of how loaded and possibly front loaded their schedule is. But that's not an excuse though. I mean, you can't use schedules. Like I said, I've seen the time teams have the number one schedule and still make a Super Bowl. But hey, that's neither here nor there.
You gonna count them out for that?
Yeah, you want to count them out already?
Yeah, for Super Bowl, I darn sure do. If the Browns win the Super Bowl, God is coming back. I'm going to tell you right now. He's cracking up in the sky immediately. As soon as they hand him over to Lombardi, you're going to see lightning strikes and all different types of stuff happening in the world.
You say the ground going to open up.
I'm trying to tell you, boys, all different types of stuff going to happen. Browns win. They call them the graveyard team.
But check this out. So let's talk about the Browns for a second. These are their first 5 games. Week 1 versus the Cowboys. Week 2 at Jacksonville. Week 3 versus the New York Giants. Week 4 at the Raiders. Week 5 at the Commanders. Honestly, they could go 4-1 in that stretch. Honestly, at minimum 2-2 in that stretch.
They got Dallas at home.
Yep.
And Dallas is already 1.5 point favorites to win that game, so I'm gonna give them a loss there. I got to read mine out just to find it.
Yeah.
And then let's see, they played the Jaguars. The Jaguars then had some upgrades at certain positions.
That's facts.
That's gonna be a good game. I feel like,
and it's a road game.
But I think Browns probably. The thing I like about the Browns is their defense. So they're going to be able to win a lot of games this year just based off of defense in general. Mm-hmm. I got them going 1-1 now by week 3, and they play the Giants
in Cleveland.
I'm going to give them another win there. I'm sorry, Giants. And then they play the Raiders and the Commanders.
I really feel like with the Raiders, with their new, they finally got a head coach that embodies that organization. They haven't had a dude like that since the late great Al Davis. Let's just put it like that. Let's call it what it is. And I can see the Browns slipping up against the Raiders.
I'll just say I can see them probably going 3-2 for the first 5 weeks.
So it's 3-2. So I mean 3-2. I mean, at best 4-1.
Yeah. But the thing I don't like about the beginning of the season is that they trying to find themselves, and this is just a lot of question marks as far as the Browns' offense side of the ball.
Right.
Their defense is good, and they don't have too many pieces that are going to be missing outside of that corner that got exposed this past offseason. But the offensive side, like, what are we going to see from Deshaun Watson?
Exactly.
Nick Chubb isn't going to be there. That's huge. That's a huge factor. They managed to get there with the experience of Joe Flacco to the playoffs. Nick Chubb is 85 to 90% of that offense. Mm-hmm. But that other guy, and I can't think of his name right now, he's a great backup. Jerome Ford. I like the way he run. He run almost just like Nick Chubb, just in a different way. I think he's a little bit more elusive. Mm-hmm. But I mean, it's just when I see the offense, I see a lot of question marks. So and they play a lot of questionable teams. Like, we don't know what the Giants going to look like. I got a feeling what the Cowboys may look like. They typical selves, I think. They got the Giants. I don't know what I'm going to see from New York. I don't know what I'm going to see from the Commanders with their new quarterback there. I mean, they play a lot of question mark teams that can put up a pretty contestant game.
Right.
So I don't know. I feel like 3-2 is a good fit, though. I feel like they can go 3-2 for the first. That ain't too bad, though.
It's not. Well, but on the flip side, you got the Ravens who start week 1 at Arrowhead. That game right there could go one or two ways, of course, and it could possibly have a lot of implications that early. Like week 1, that's like that game goes and wait. Then home opener is the Raiders. Week 3 is at Cowboys. Week 4 at home versus the Bills, and then week 5 at Cincinnati. So,
man, y'all kind of start off a little tough sledding, just a tad bit.
I mean, it's a tad, but it's nothing we can't manage. Because especially we got like in like, let me see, 3 to 4 weeks is like really 2 big games against AFC contenders in the Cincinnati Bengals. But I mean, just the eye test alone, I don't see why. I mean, I don't see the Browns having the tougher schedule because we both playing the same opponents. But again, it's like when you're playing them.
Yeah. Now I do feel like we're probably going to switch. And I'll say 3-2 with the Browns. You said best at 4-1. I feel like y'all should have the 4-1 record, honestly, because the only team that I see as a huge contender for y'all is that week 1 game against Patrick Mahomes, of course. I'm not a big fan of the Bills right now currently. I don't know what they'll look like, especially without Stephon Diggs. That's huge. Their defense isn't all that great to me, in my opinion. Cincinnati, I don't know how they'll start. They had a lot of injuries. Joe is even talks that T. Higgins isn't signing his franchise tag.
Exactly.
So that's a lot. So I feel like those two are definitely wins. I'm not really worried about Dallas. Dallas should be good, but y'all are playing away, so I would be careful because Dallas is a little different at home.
Mm-hmm.
But the Raiders, I don't see why y'all can at least go 4-1 for the first 5 weeks of football. I mean, and the only team I probably got y'all losing to is the Chiefs. Maybe the Cowboys, just maybe. But it's not likely. It's not likely.
Yeah. If I could just use historical bias a little bit, we kind of own the Cowboys. Hey, don't look at me. Look at the stats. But I'm looking at y'all's schedule. You only get one home game in the month of September, and that's versus the Chargers. The rest is week 1 at Atlanta, week 2 at Denver. Home opener September 22nd versus the Chargers, and then you go back on the road at Indianapolis. That's tough.
Yeah, they did us dirty, especially after the bye week, but we ain't gonna get into all that.
But you get the Cowboys Sunday Night Football, so that they get to cut in your career for Sunday Night Football.
Yeah, that should be real good. For a prediction for my team, unbiased.
Of course.
It's hard to put your pride aside, but I feel like we'll win week 1 against the Falcons. Not gonna be an easy game, I don't feel like. But I feel like we'll manage to win that game. Broncos, Chargers. Honestly, just so I can be quick and summon, I'll say, being that most of these games are on the road, and the Steelers isn't an on-road team at all, I would say, at best, I would say for the first 5 weeks, I would probably say maybe 3-2. I feel like we can win 3 games within 5 weeks. I think so.
I mean, because it's the beginning of the season.
It's the beginning of the season, and honestly,
I got to go there when you get done.
it's a lot. Like I said, man, just looking at it from the eye test, it's just certain teams just build those question marks. And it's like, I don't know what these teams, I know what they look like on paper, but it's just a big adjustment. Like for the Chargers, for instance, how is Jim Harbaugh going to turn around that franchise? I mean, a guy that know how to win, just came off a winning season in college. So, I mean, he's had success in the NFL and in college, so that's huge for them. But they lost a lot of pieces at skill positions, like Keegan Allen.
But they gained Gus Edwards. They gained what's his face? Our other running back. They got him too. So, and Jim Harbaugh and Greg Roman, they love to run the ball.
Yeah.
So I can see y'all giving that game up.
I'll say 3-2 for fun.
Yeah, just for craps and giggles. You know what I'm saying? It's too early to even predict what could happen because they doing OTAs.
Now, the way we predicting the AFC is going to be tight from the get go.
I mean, for real.
Honestly, between you guys and the Browns, I feel like we kind of got it easy per se for the first 5 weeks outside of you guys and the Browns. In my opinion,
y'all technically got it easy up until your bye week. Just eye test alone, y'all got it pretty decent until your bye week. It's after the bye week that might sink y'all.
Yeah, well, I don't want to talk about that right now.
You got four divisional games back to back to back to back.
And then we got Jalen Hurts and Patrick Mahomes in between those.
Then you got Jalen Hurts. Then you got to go December 21st at Baltimore. Then you got to come back home and face Kansas City and then face Cincinnati. at the end of the year.
Yeah, they're trying to make it possible for Mike Tomlin to have that first losing season. That's all.
I think
that's all. That's the only thing they want. That's all.
Come on with the tomfoolery now.
That's all they want, man. They trying to kill that streak, man. They trying to
they trying to get rid of. They trying to give him his first losing season. Like there's kids that have been born. They've never seen this man have a losing season. They wait till they about grown to say, yeah, we're gonna give it to him this year.
Yeah, they definitely did. They definitely.
But see, I wouldn't. Outside of Washington, though, which that is at Washington. I mean, that's still a winnable game for y'all. But
I don't know how Washington gonna be.
We don't know what version of Washington now.
I'm watching Washington, boy. You better watch.
To me, and a lot of people in the DMV is gonna be happy I say this, but to me, Washington is that sleeping giant that been asleep about 10 years.
Yeah.
And what's gonna happen here?
Washington.
At some point. They're gonna get the spirit of the team they used to be. And it's just too early to pick my dark horse team this year. I'm gonna wait to about next month to pick them. But I'm leaning towards Big Washington though. I ain't gonna front now. I'm leaning towards Washington.
You know, bro. But I feel like we got it pretty easy comparing. So we ain't talking about Cincinnati yet, but just comparing from the Browns and the Ravens, we got it pretty easy. So honestly, I don't see why we can't win at least 4 games, but who knows? I mean,
because y'all are
historically known from what I've seen of my time watching my team is we lose to teams like people that we don't even need to lose to. Pretty often.
Sometimes back to back. I'm just saying.
So, I don't know. We'll see what the black and gold bring when that first whistle blow against the Falcons.
Well, speaking of taking colossal L's, let's talk about the Cincinnati Bengals. Just for a hot second. So, week 1 they open up. They have the home opener against the Patriots. Week 2, they got to go to Kansas City. Week 3, they getting them out the way early, which is they kind of bode well for them.
Y'all both
right.
They trying to kill us. I'm trying to kill us, boy.
And y'all got them like week 17. You're like, golly.
Christmas Day. Oh man, Lord have mercy.
And then you got the Commanders after that. You got the Panthers after that, and then week 5. It's the Baltimore Ravens. So I could just by looking and glancing at their schedule again, like I said, the AFC North is playing the same people, but these are the odd teams they're playing. The Carolina Panthers, because we got to play one team from the NFC South
a piece, yeah,
because of that extra game.
Yeah.
Then they got, I just seen it on this Tennessee Titans. You know what I'm saying? So they pretty much, to me, honestly, their schedule as far as AFC North is concerned, their schedule kind of, it makes sense why it's so easy. They essentially got a 4th place schedule, basically. But hey, they got us playing division winners.
Right.
but yeah,
I think it'll be interesting though. My biggest concern for the Cincinnati Bengals is, are they going to get out of that run that they was in beginning of the season? Because it seemed like once they entered that run last season, they could not get out of it. They couldn't get out of it.
On top of injuries too.
On top of injuries. So we're going to see what version of Joe we get. Maybe he'll show himself against the Chiefs. That's typically where he shows himself at.
Yeah.
And then how is this T. Higgins situation going to work? Because he's not going to be there at OTAs. And as for the ones that have played football, y'all know that football is a chemistry sport. And I feel like OTAs, training camp, practice, all that stuff is essential to football. It's essential to your season, in my opinion. So for a guy to not be there for OTAs and not signing that franchise tender can cause a lot of distraction, unwanted distractions to the team. Take me, I can know about that. But yeah, so that's some of my concerns for the Cincinnati Bengals on the offensive side of the ball. Obviously, I know that they was attempting to, rebuild that defense. But when I get down to the people that put up points, you got to put up points in order to win football games. And right now, the only person they got to lean on is Jamar Chase, which may be enough for some. But I don't know, man. We talked about this before about whether they should pay Higgins or what. So we definitely will see if they need to or should have when the season starts.
That is facts. So I think this is a good place where we can just call it right now. So y'all let us know in the comments, what, the team that you got and everything, the team that you rep, and let us know how you think about y'all schedule. Do you think it's right where it should be? You think it's difficult? You think y'all can manage it? And to add some salt out there, put a final prediction. How you gonna go? What your final record is gonna be. And again, thanks everybody for tuning in. Thank you to the day ones, all our subscribers. We appreciate you. Even the ones that haven't subscribed yet, we still appreciate you for watching. But just do me a favor, just subscribe to the channel so we can, put this content out for everybody, so everybody can watch it. Y'all don't be selfish. But you got anything you want to add, bro?
Not at all, brother.
All right, man, we're going to go ahead and clock out of here, man. This has been the Backport Sports Podcast with your man, Fonz.
And Quan.
And we out, y'all.